Welcome back to Mantra After Hours, the podcast for offline conversations on PR, influence, and business. If you don't know me, my name is Praleen and I am the founder and managing director of Mantra Publicity. In today's episode, we are talking everything influencing and creator. How do you actually break into the creator community? How do you go from posting content to building influence to building a business? I'm joined by Sheena today, known to you as Miss Sheena D on Instagram, a creator who has built her platforms with intention, consistency, and strategy. Welcome to Mantra After Hours, Sheena.
Thanks, Bree. Thanks for having me.
It's so nice to have you. We're like personal friends in our personal life as well. So this is going to be a lovely conversation,
and
nice
I'm so
organic
glad
one.
that I'm seeing you often. Like I saw you on Friday.
Yes.
And today's Monday. So that's amazing.
That's record breaking, guys. If you did not know, it's record breaking because with you being a mom and being a full-time content creator and running your social media business on the side, and then me with everything that I do,
being so busy,
it's virtually impossible to be friends in today's day and age.
But my New Year's resolution was we're going to see more of each other in 2026 without fail. And it's working.
Yes, it is. I love it.
I love it.
Our little catch up on Friday was so wholesome. It was so nice.
It always is though.
I was saying to my husband over the weekend, I was like, it's so nice to actually see your friends and do things on the weekend, like after your 9 to 5, because it almost gives you like a burst of life again. So when you go back to work on Monday, you feel like, okay, I can do this, because you didn't just like roam around the house in like your loungewear all weekend.
Get stuck in it and we're like, we have to work. And then we just work and we forget how we as women, we need to like have our gossip sesh and
play paddle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning with you. This is also going to be like educational for me, because I think like we've briefly spoken about how this all started for you.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember things very well.
Neither do I. Neither do I.
So I'm also going to be learning a thing or two about you today. So how did you actually get into influencing, and was it intentional or accidental?
Okay, so how did I get into influencing? Firstly, I didn't even have social media for the longest time. And then I started traveling. My husband got a job in Russia. And then we moved to Russia and we started traveling a lot. And then I heard there were these people called content creators making content out of it. And back in the day, it was blogs. It wasn't so much social media. TikTok didn't exist back then.
No, it didn't.
So it was via blogging and via Instagram. And so I just would take cute pictures and put it on my Instagram, and I started writing because I had given up everything I was doing in South Africa at that time to go support my husband in Russia and be with him.
Yeah.
I was an actress, and then I went to Russia with him. And while I was traveling and posting my pictures, a company called Travel Start contacted me and said, would you like to write blogs for us through your blog? And I didn't know it was like campaigns. I don't even think it was called campaigns back then, you know. So that's how it all started, but via my blog.
Right.
And then we got back to South Africa, and I was getting Humans was around back then. They've been around.
Were they?
Yes, they were.
Oh,
they've been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
And they would give me a lot of work. And I was like, what's going on? What is this world? You know? And then I realized a whole beauty world existed on YouTube, and there were so many avenues to it. And I was like, I got to get in on this. And that's how it started. Yeah.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
You kind of just fell into it
I did.
and built it. And I think that's how the greater YouTube community started as well. Like girls were just filming themselves putting makeup on.
Yeah.
And then 3 years down the line, they have like 1 million subscribers and they're getting paid, and it's like a full-time job where they're quitting their 9 to 5 and putting makeup on full-time.
Who knew that could be a thing?
It's so amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. So tell me, what was your first paid collaboration that you got?
I had to go back and look.
Yeah.
But my first paid collaboration, and I'm actually so proud of myself because it's like you don't realize at the time, but it was with Woolworths Beauty, what do you call it? W Beauty?
Yeah.
For Sir John makeup. So I don't know if you ever knew, but Sir John is Beyonce's makeup artist, and he would collaborate with Woolworths Beauty.
Oh my goodness.
And they had like a limited edition collection. I still even have that makeup. I need to send you these pictures.
You have
of
to.
the makeup
Absolutely.
I did. It is low-key embarrassing. But it was a different time.
Yeah.
It was a different time, but I mean, to get Woolworths Beauty so early on in my career was, quite an accomplishment. I mean, Woolworths Beauty is still such a brand that everybody wants to work with. So.
It's still so incredible.
Yeah.
And to think that they were like at the very beginning of this influencing creator community.
Yeah.
And at what point did you realize that this could become more than just content for you? Like, when did you really start taking it seriously?
Okay, so I started taking it seriously when I realized I didn't want to do acting anymore. So when I lived in Russia, and I lived sort of the European lifestyle, my work in South Africa, like my lifestyle in South Africa prior to Russia, was very hustle sort of lifestyle, just getting up every day and working really hard, because besides acting, I was doing casting, directing, as well as producing. I was doing a lot of different things. You have to be sort of a jack of all trades in the industry to get by, because there just wasn't enough acting work in South Africa. There still isn't.
Especially back then. Yeah.
I think back then was the best it got.
Really?
I think so. We got paid ridiculous amounts of money for commercials and things like that.
I remember you posted on your stories about this the other day.
Yeah. I mean, we don't get that offered now for a basic commercial because influencer marketing has taken over.
Right. It has kind of like diluted the industry a bit.
Yeah. So I would get paid like 100,000 Rand for a commercial, and I would book a lot of commercials.
Yeah.
It was a good time. But that was sort of dwindling, and I recognized that, and I was like, I don't want to struggle, Yes, I love my craft as an actress and I really, really loved it, but it's also equated to how hard you need to work and how much of money you make. Yeah. And the money just didn't make sense to me anymore. And I didn't want to struggle. Yeah. I wasn't put on this earth to struggle. None of us were. We don't need to. Like, there are ways out of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And I spoke about the European lifestyle. Like, the European lifestyle is so different to the South African lifestyle. I feel like we are very much, we need to work hard and but you just kind of need to work smarter and you can enjoy life. In Europe, like, work started at a certain time, ended at a certain time. It didn't spill over to weekends. Your time was your time and you enjoyed, the money you made. And I remember, like, when I was working at my hardest in South Africa, like, I was making all this money. I was like, when do I have time to enjoy it?
Yeah.
I didn't really, So I wanted like a full life change, and content creation just sort of happened for me because I was getting offered campaigns quite early on in my career. And at this time, I only had like 4,000 followers. Remember, I just started Instagram very late. Like, I don't know when Instagram started, but I would say like probably 10 years into Instagram, I started it.
Don't even lie.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were not an early joiner on Instagram?
No.
Would you say like 10 years after the platform launched is when you like actually started adopting it?
Yeah.
Goodness, I didn't know that.
Very late to the thing. Yeah. And yeah, that's how I started it. And I just rode the wave. And then early on in my career, I got offered to be brand ambassador for Clicks Beauty. And that's what sort of sealed the deal. And that's how I became a full-time content creator.
So you would you say when you got, well, I think for me, because I know you personally, you started taking content creation on seriously way before Clicks even.
Do you think so?
I think so.
Okay.
I think you were like such a serious beauty content creator way before Clicks came around. You were like creating content week on week with brands.
Yeah. I just think I had a good work ethic. Like, if I put my mind to something and I say, this is what I'm going to do, I do it.
Yeah. Okay. And what would you say your early challenges were?
My early challenges? Wow, I have to think about
in being
this.
Like, back then we said influencers, but now it's like a content creator.
Yeah. Look, I always call myself a content creator. I don't think I'm an influencer just yet.
Mm.
I'm more of a content creator, but if I have to go back to your question, my early challenges back then, I'd say not starting when the whole social media craze started. So I was behind because of that. So by the time I started, they were already very established influencers and content creators. So I was playing catch up. And I feel like as each decade passed, when it comes to social media, you don't get on the train. You are behind, and you have to play catch up. Yeah. And you're lucky if you do catch up, and get on the train of social media. So yeah, my challenge was that I didn't start when this whole craze started. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah. My next question is about growth, but before we jump into that, I just want to quickly jump into, just briefly, like in your head, what is the difference between an influencer and content creator?
Okay, for me, like a content creator doesn't have, a huge following like an influencer would. And they're more focused on the creative aspect, the aesthetics, the quality, the brand alignment, and being able to focus on what the brand wants. Whereas an influencer is more of a brand themselves, and they have a bigger following. They have an influence on the community that they have.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that in order to call yourself an influencer, you have to influence.
Yes.
And that's kind of like if you think this lip gloss is amazing, the minute you put it on and you say it's amazing, everybody, they ask no questions and they're just like, yes, because you said this, I'm going to buy it, whether it's good or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to growth. A lot of people see creators at a certain level and they think that this happens overnight.
Oh, God.
So in your personal opinion, like what did the growth phase really look like for you? What were the struggles and how did you navigate through that phase of trying to grow your platforms?
Wow. Back then, the old Instagram, not to sound like Kanye.
The old Instagram.
Yeah, the good old days. It was a lot easier.
It was so fun. It was like pretty pictures.
Right?
Oh my
Pinterest
God, yes.
vibes.
Yeah.
You would literally post leaves. Like if you had like a good eye for pictures, and I remember, I'm saying leaves because I literally have a picture of leaves on my old back,
Yeah, way down your feed. Yeah.
Way down my feed. And I have and at this time I probably had less than 4,000 followers because I wasn't even a content creator then. I was still in Russia. Yeah. And I have 500 likes.
Oh my goodness. 500 on a picture of leaves.
On a picture of leaves.
Revolutionary. That's unheard of today.
And now it's so difficult, to get 500 likes on Instagram.
On a really well curated, well edited post. Yeah.
Proper post. And it's wow, things have changed dramatically.
It gets harder.
It gets more difficult as you go. So in terms of growth, you have to keep with it because social media is changing so rapidly. And it's not just Instagram. It's now TikTok. People are still trying to keep up with YouTube, which has also changed a lot.
Yeah.
And then people speak about Facebook because, you can monetize your platform on Facebook and make money. So you have to choose your battles, which platforms you're going to be on. Which platforms are relevant now? Because there's always a platform that is relevant, At one point it was YouTube. It's not YouTube anymore. It's sort of there in the background, but it's not YouTube anymore. It was Instagram. It's not Instagram anymore. And I was an Instagram girly. So now it's TikTok, if you want to grow your brand. So you have to keep abreast of what's going to be able to grow your brand. It is a business. So you have to, right now it's all about TikTok. If you want to grow your brand, you need to get on TikTok. So that's what I'm doing. You kind of have to almost reinvent yourself all the time.
And put yourself in those uncomfortable situations that is not necessarily meant for you, but just to, like you said, build your brand.
You have to enjoy doing that. Because if you don't, it will wear you down.
Yeah. So would you say it's about, I would think number one, if you are in that growth phase, being consistent on your platforms, understanding your brand, your niche and sticking to it. I mean, brands complain about this all the time where they're like, how can you be promoting this product and our competitor the next day on your page? You know, it's kind of like understanding what your brand is and also being smart about the way you post your content.
Yeah.
And then maybe like just being on the platforms that matter in order to grow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I guess it's quite frustrating to talk about like how certain content creators have a conflict of interest on their page. It is quite frustrating, I suppose, for PR companies and for brands that one day you're speaking about a skincare brand and then the next day you're speaking about another skincare brand. Yeah, it's also ethics and values and not chasing money.
Yeah.
But then, you know, if you are chasing money, that's also not in your best interest.
Yeah.
Because then the brands are not going to work with you again.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, every contract says, you know, I mean, when it comes to makeup, it's fine. But like skincare, you can't like promote.
It's a little bit more touchy. Yeah. And I mean, I've had a lot of creators who actually do align themselves to this and they actually say no to campaigns because they're like, I'm currently using this and I really like it. And I just feel like if I post about this product, it's going to come across as inauthentic to my audience.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got to respect that because they're not chasing money, likes, clout or anything like that. They're really just being true to themselves. Yeah. And longevity. Exactly. Yeah. So did you invest in yourself early on, for example, like buying equipment, lighting, studio, all of that? I mean, a lot of content creators I know struggle with this. Like they're trying to grow, they're trying to elevate their content, but they're not getting paid campaigns yet. Yeah. How do they get out of that like crux where they just can't move? Like, do they invest in themselves? Would you advise them to buy equipment and lighting or just continue with what they have right now until they're able to?
I would say now that TikTok is the platform that you can grow. You don't need to have well curated content on TikTok. You just need to have content, a personality, and a reason as to why you're making the content. Yeah. So you literally can just use your phone for TikTok and all you need to do is invest in probably a selfie light. When I started off on Instagram, and Instagram was different back then. It still is sort of the same. You need to have an aesthetic. You need to have good quality. And so, yes, I had invested a lot on lighting and a good camera and that sort of thing. But it was a different time. Yeah. So you have to, don't hold yourself back and be like, I need to get this, and this. If you have a phone, you're good.
Yeah. I think so. And I think today's smartphones really do the job.
Yes.
You know, and if
you don't have to have the latest smartphone either. You really don't. If you have like an iPhone, I would say 13 onwards, probably even before that, you're good. And
it isn't so much about what you have. It isn't really about the equipment. It isn't about the lighting. It really is about what you have to say. Yeah. It's about what uniqueness are you bringing to whatever it is that you're saying, you know?
And what value are you giving?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. What do you think people underestimate the most about working behind influencing, like being let's say content creator?
I think people think it's just so easy. Like we just pick up our camera and we film something and post it. Yeah. Nobody really realizes that firstly, you have to have an affinity to be in front of the camera. Not everyone can get up and do it.
Yeah.
I had an affinity towards the camera, obviously, because I come from an acting background. So it was quite natural for me. But I mean, if you have to put my husband, who's not in the industry at all, in front of the camera, and I remember, you know, I obviously try and do that now and then. Yeah. He's like, I can't do this. Yeah. You know?
Yes.
It's different.
Yeah.
And then besides that, there's a lot that goes into it. You know, you don't just make a video and then, you know, people watch it and love it by chance. You have to plan and strategize and come up with a concept. That takes so long. And then you have to film it. And then you have to edit it. Yeah. Editing takes so long.
Yes. And that's the thing. I mean, even on the content creator side, but also like on the agency side, like where we offer content creation, it is such an immense task to create content. And I think people just don't get it. They like, why can't you just put your phone on a tripod and film? It just, it's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
So
it's
I think,
a process.
And
it's extremely time consuming.
Time consuming, and it takes a lot of you.
Yes.
Whether you're in front of the camera or not, it really takes a lot of like understanding your equipment that you're working with and getting the perfect shot and filming it and making sure that it doesn't like jump or there's no lines across the screen or the lighting is in the perfect position. I mean, influencers find that too, content creators, but on the brand side, you're creating content for other brands. It's like
more so on the brand side.
So stressful. So I think that in general, like as an overarching comment on this question, it's way more difficult than you think it is.
Yeah.
It takes so much more of you to create a really good piece of content. So when you see content online, guys, that is really good, understand that there was a lot that went into the behind the scenes of that. So like, comment, share, do everything.
Don't just take information. Like, I feel like there's a lot of content creators and influencers that share such valuable information and also just good entertainment. You know, don't just consume it by watching it. You know, pay back the 2 seconds they gave you entertainment for or some value for by a like, a comment, and a share. It really goes a long way. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so fast forward to today. How would you describe your brand now compared to when you started?
Well, I'm still doing beauty, so I'm very consistent on that. Wow, why is that such a difficult question? I suppose my brand now from where I started, I would say consistency has kept me here, and it hasn't really changed much except for how life progresses. I'm a mom now, and so I am thinking of transitioning into more of a lifestyle sort of mom vibe on my page.
Are you really?
I am thinking about it. I have been posting, mom content here and there, but not a lot. But if I'm being honest, the beauty industry, the beauty niche, isn't as big as it used to be. And if you look at people getting beauty campaigns, aren't necessarily beauty content creators. They're more lifestyle content creators because lifestyle content creators have a wider reach. And when it comes down to everything, it's all about the numbers and the analytics. And a lot of us beauty, the real beauty content creators who are niched down to beauty are struggling. And we have chats with each other and we're like, it's just not getting the reach that it once used to. It's not 2016 anymore, right?
Yes.
So yes, I am thinking of broadening my content. And when I do it, it does work. People are more interested in my lifestyle. So I am considering that. And like I said in the beginning, you have to navigate and, change because social media.
Keep up with the times.
The algorithms are changing all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And especially moving away from the Instagram baddie vibes to real skin these days. And people are really, we were speaking about this over the weekend.
I was never a baddie though.
I think maybe not baddie in the sense of being a baddie, but the Instagram look where your eyebrows were cut and you use concealer on every single corner of your face, that has
Kylie
changed.
Jenner vibe,
Yeah, and the Gen Zs now are very much invested in their self-care, and it's all about the rituals and the routines behind looking beautiful, and they'd rather go to bed with what do they call it, that lip plaster thing that you don't open your mouth when you sleep, and a cap over their head and looking like a glazed donut.
That's too much.
So you wake up beautiful. I feel like Zendaya was the one who first started this all. But yeah, times have changed. So you think over the years, your platform has also changed to be more suitable to the need, the demand, essentially. Okay. So we actually spoke about this now, but how intentional are you about your niche? I know you were very beauty. Now you're moving more into lifestyle, more mom content, more authentic Sheena.
Yeah. Look, I'm still always going to be intentional. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
I can't just get up and jump on a trend if it doesn't suit me just because it's trending. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
So I will still be very intentional with the content I make, just based on where I am now in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note of being intentional, do you say no to certain collaborations?
I do. There's just certain things I wouldn't say yes to. Like, I got offered towards the end of last year, like, I think it was 30 or 40,000 Rand for a campaign. But it was a gambling brand. And I wouldn't promote that on my platform because I just know, like, our community does struggle with gambling. It is a thing. And there's a reason behind that. So now I don't want to encourage being Indian. I don't want to encourage that on my platform. Also, alcohol, I don't really drink. I don't drink. I have like a glass of wine. So if I do collaborate with an alcohol brand, it will be authentically like a wine brand. But I'm not going to be like collaborating with a brand like that does
Astropaz or Brutal Fruit, or because you just don't drink that
I just don't.
in your daily.
Yeah.
See, so that, I think that's important. I think if anybody takes anything away from this episode of the podcast, it is to make decisions aligned to who you are and who you want your brand to be. Yeah. Because it's great to make 30 or 40,000 Rand. I mean, that would have taken you very far.
But it wasn't the first time I said no to such a big paycheck. I think we spoke about conflict of interest. I had to say no to a huge brand for a huge campaign that I always wanted to be part of. But because I was tied down by another contract, I had to say no to another 40,000 Rand contract. I was like, oh, okay.
Exclusivity is a crazy thing.
Yes.
Hey? Yeah. But I mean, even if you're not in exclusivity, just saying no to, like you said, the gambling thing, because it just doesn't align to you. While you might have said no to it today, I think it gives you the longevity of trust and validity and credibility to your platform, because other brands will see it and you'll get more work off the back of saying no to that than you did just on once off, Yeah,
I suppose. Because, there's 100% the thing about doing alcoholic campaigns as well as, what do you call gambling campaigns? Do you say gambling? I'm not too sure. There's certain brands that won't work with you.
So what specific boundaries have you put in place to manage your Machina D brand?
Something that has worked so well for me is that I just won't do unpaid work at this stage. I may not have a huge following, but I have planted my seed as a content creator, I believe, over the years. I've been consistent. I'm reliable. I work well. I make high quality content. So I absolutely do not take unpaid work. And I did that a couple years ago, I would say maybe 4 years ago now, where I just stopped doing it. And I don't even get requests anymore. And I feel like if you put that out, this is more like based on like life now. If you put that out in the universe, you get it back.
Yes, exactly.
I
have a question for you. So on that, do you think it's okay for influencers to say no to trade exchanges completely, but then open up trade exchanges for certain brands that they really like? So for instance, accept trade exchanges from Dior, but because they like Dior and it's a luxury brand, but then say no to trade exchanges for maybe like, I don't know, another brand that is maybe not in their realm of, do you think that's fair?
I think that is fair because if the brand makes it worth your time, like for example, it's something that you're going to use anyway, but they're going to elaborate on it and, give you like thousands and thousands of rands worth of amazing makeup. And that's something that you would love to have in your collection. Then yes, you got to think about it for your brand. And is this something that you would have went out and purchased if you had the money to purchase it?
Yeah.
Like for example, there's a brand that's sending out really expensive hair tools at the moment. And it's a trade exchange. And I said yes to that. But it's something that I wanted. And I was going to purchase on my own with my own money anyway. Yeah. So I said yes to that.
Yeah. Okay. So I think like if the trade exchange value meets the price that you would normally charge,
Yes.
and it's something that you would ordinarily normally use and spend your own money on,
Yeah.
then it's okay, because then it's like, it also kind of promotes authentic content, because you're not now forced to make content on something that you wouldn't normally talk about and wouldn't normally use.
Yes. So like I would have went out and purchased that tool and then made content out of it anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And now the brand is giving it to
me.
So
it
you're willing
makes
to
sense.
So I do understand. So there's clarity there. I think there's a bigger conversation on this, but that does kind of put the parameters down pretty nicely in terms of trade exchanges and knowing your worth and charging your worth, but then also making provision for those brands that will give you and offer you a trade exchange just based on stuff that you would ordinarily use in your life anyway, and being intentional in that kind of paid versus trade exchange discussion.
Yeah. So there's some like press drops that I get that are elaborate and beautiful, and it's such an experience that I would share it on my feed. Even though I wasn't paid to share it on my feed, I was just given the press drop.
Yeah.
But I feel like if the brands make it worth the content creator or the influencer's time, they will post about it on their feed.
Yeah. I also think that there needs to be a little bit of like a shift in the way PR drops are sent out. I think like so many influencers, and this definitely started in America and the UK, like where brands would just send out packages without even telling the creator that it's coming. And then you have like a bunch of boxes at your front door and you're not supposed to post about this. It just becomes like an unsustainable structure, I think.
Yeah.
But I think now if brands or agencies actually reach out, this is something that we do. Like if it is a trade exchange campaign, we will first ask you, like, is this something that you do want to receive? And can you post about it? Then when they get it at their front door, they know, oh, Mantra spoke to us about this, or, you know, a brand spoke to me about it. So I know that it's coming and I've made provision to post about it. And therefore you are like accepting the trade exchange or whatever it is, and then you're happy to also build that relationship with the brand. Whereas if it just lands up at your doorstep, you're not quite sure what to do about it.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not one of the biggest content creators in South Africa. But I do get a lot of press drops, and it's very overwhelming at certain times of the year. So you just can't get to it. So that's something brands need to think about, because, you know, are they getting maximum exposure from these elaborate press drops that they send?
Are they? That is the question. Are they? And I know I still follow like Nicole Guerrero and Carly Bible, like from back then. They were like the beauty gurus of when this all started. And they've even said like openly on their platforms that they've actually asked brands to remove them off their PR list, like even Manny MUA, because it's simply like unsustainable. Like
I can't imagine, like if I'm feeling overwhelmed, can you imagine
them? Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But like they do these huge YouTube unboxing videos. So that's like the PR the brands get out of it.
And I mean, and honestly, is that enough? Like, is that what you want your brand to be in a video with other brands just unboxing stuff? So I think brands do need to start reaching out to the creators and asking them first. Yes, free stuff is great, but also not, you know, when you're talking about ROI on your bottom line. I think it's very important. And if you can't as a brand, that's what you need an agency for, to reach out to them and like kind of ask the creator, is this something that you want to work on?
But it's all about building relationships and community. But sometimes, a lot of the times, that gets lost.
Yeah. 100%. Okay, so let's talk about perception versus reality. Okay, we see all these posts on Instagram all the time. So from the outside, influencing can look glamorous, or content creation for that matter. What does your day-to-day actually look like?
It's pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it is a privilege to wake up and be able to do this every day, and I don't take it for granted a single day. And sometimes you can get caught up in nonsense. You really can get in your own head about it, and it's really silly. Like, snap out of it, you know. And I'm really grateful for this. It is glamorous. I'm not gonna lie, it is. You get to go to these amazing events. You get amazing press drops and campaigns to work on. I mean, I'm in the beauty industry, so it's like I get girly things, and I'm such a girly girl. It's right up my alley. I love makeup. I love skincare. I love hair care. That's what I do. And now I'm touching a bit into motherhood, and it's so fun for me to do it with Rishav. you know, what's not to love about it? It's really.
And what does your mornings look like? Well, how would you plan your day when it comes to your content and what you put out and what you're filming and how you're navigating all the press drops that you got and campaigns? What does a normal day in the life of Miss Sheena D look like? With Rishi, of course.
Well, it depends on what time my toddler wakes me up. You know, it could be anything from 5 o'clock.
Oh my goodness.
To 7 o'clock, in between there. So I'm up pretty early most mornings. Wait for the nanny to come. Hand him over to the nanny and then start my day. You know, I'm basically so I have an office at home that I work from, a studio, and start at 8 o'clock, start conceptualizing content. So I have different days where I conceptualize and edit. And then I have shooting days, about 3 shooting days. And then some days are obviously taken away from for going to events, as well as shooting content not in my studio, because I have contracts with other brands that I work with, where I have to shoot outside or in their, you know, location. Yeah, so it's most of the days are me conceptualizing, editing, and filming at home. And then there's maybe 1 or 2 days in a week where I have to be out and about doing stuff. Okay. So it's pretty chilled. I love it because I get to see my son, you know, whenever I want to be with him. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And you get to kind of structure your time around your son as well. So it's not like a 9 to 5. You can spend time with him during the day and work late at night. And kind of, I know, the freedom is really priceless.
Yes.
Okay, so this is where I want to get a little bit strategic. From your experience working with brands, what do brands actually look for in a creator?
So as a content creator, what brands are looking for with content creators and influencers, I would say, are different. So as a content creator, I would say they definitely want to align their brand with quality. So they have an image and a perception of how they want their brand to be perceived.
Yeah.
So there's certain brands you will see that collaborate with content creators because, you know, they have quality content, so they represent the brand properly, and it's more controlled. Whereas sometimes working with influencers, when brands want to work with influencers, it's different because they're looking probably strongly at the numbers, the analytics, and that sort of thing. It's not very predictable, you know, in terms of how is this content going to be made? Yes, it's going to get the numbers, but how is my brand going to be perceived?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think also when it comes to, let's talk about influencers, it is kind of who is trending right now. And whether you are actually getting ROI from that influencer or not doesn't really matter to the brand or the influencer. It really is just we need to work together because I'm currently trending and I want my brand to be in the conversation or on your feed.
Yes.
Because everybody's talking about you right now.
And that's what we struggle with in the industry, right? Okay, so you're a beauty influencer, but then you see somebody who doesn't post about beauty get a beauty campaign. What percentage of their audience is actually interested in that lip gloss they're promoting on their page? Is it worth it to pay that amount of money for a brand? You know, and that's the conversations we continuously have back and forth. So I try not to think about that too much as a content creator, because you can get, you know, so annoyed with that. But just focus on your strong points and focus on what you do. Yeah. And you'll be fine.
Yeah. Agreed. And what do you think separates creators who get once-off campaigns from those who build long-term brand relationships?
There's so many variables to that. I feel like, you know, there are certain creators and influencers who come on for a duration of time, and then they're trending, and then they realize, oof, this is actually a business. This is actually difficult. And then they go away, and then you never see them again. And then they come back and they go, you know, sort of that staccato sort of thing. But to answer the question, it's like, it's a bit of a difficult one. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's, you know what? It's very different from dealing with a brand 101 to dealing with an agency. But I know that from an agency perspective, brands rely on us heavily to manage the process. That's what we're there for.
Yes.
And I think 9 out of 10 times, we're always going to go back to those creators who are, number one, polite and professional when dealing with us and the brands and each other and other creators, consistent and reliable, and organized, and kind of read the brief.
Yeah.
You know, if you're hitting those 4 things, and it sounds so basic, but there's a reason why we take an hour out of our day to put together a very airtight brief. It's so that you can follow it.
Yeah.
We at Mantra obviously give the creatives a lot of creative leniencies, right? You can create the content that suits your audience, but follow the brief, you know, deliver your content on time, just be reliable, you know, and also be professional. I think like, because it is such an unregulated element of marketing, there isn't a lot of professionalism most of the time. And that's kind of what turns brands and agencies away from you, is that if you just don't know how to act professionally, because it is a business transaction. It's not,
it's a job.
I
mean, I feel like I spoke about consistency a lot, but that has been my my superpower of being able to do this for as long as I have done this, and still, you know, be a smaller content creator, but still get a lot of campaigns because I'm consistent, and brands like that. Like, I'm not gonna go away and then come back on and go away. And then another thing is, doing what you need to do when you book a campaign, which is, you know, get the content to the client on time, make sure that you take whatever it is that they want for the deliverables, and do it well. Yeah. Quality.
And then what would you say a creator needs to do today if they are looking to break into content creation, influencing, all the things?
Today, well, we spoke about TikTok. So I'm just going to, you know, be frank about it. You need to get onto TikTok. In South Africa, brands still do a lot of Instagram campaigns, but not as how it used to be. So cross-post to Instagram. Focus on growing on TikTok. You need to post like twice a day, every single day, if you want to grow on TikTok. It's a lot. But, you know, once you start making the content, you will get a hang of it and know how to make TikTok content. It's very different to Instagram. And just start doing it. And I feel something that creators struggle a lot with is self-doubt, because we can get lost in the numbers, and our worth is based on how many followers you may have, or how many followers are interacting with you, you know, at the moment. Be human, you know, that's going to happen down the line, but, you know, snap out of it as quickly as possible and just get back on and do what you need to do.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you 3 questions. I want you to just choose one of them.
Okay.
Platform first or niche first?
What does platform first mean?
If you're going to focus more on the platform that you want to be on, or do you really just want to focus more on your niche across platforms?
Jeez, I would say niche.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aesthetic or value?
Value.
Growth or credibility? Difficult, eh?
Look, I'm going to be like, and say credibility.
But everybody wants growth too.
Yes. And some people do crazy things to grow. No, I'm going to say credibility, because it can get a bit sleazy. So, yeah.
Okay. And then on our rapid fire, 1 or 2 words. Okay. One mistake new creators make that you see like all the time.
So many things going through my head. One mistake. I know this is supposed to be quick.
The mum brain has
But there's nothing quick about my mum brain. One mistake. Geez, I feel like the quality of content creators in South Africa is really good. But one mistake I would say is self-doubt.
Okay. One thing brands hate.
Dishonesty?
One thing every aspiring creator should start doing tomorrow.
Making content.
Amazing. Okay, so that brings us to the end of episode 1, Sheena.
Wow.
What a great conversation that was. I think I even learned a thing or two there.
Me too.
Okay, so Sheena, this has been such an insightful conversation. Thank you for being so honest about your journey, not just as a highlight reel. If you're listening and you're thinking about becoming a creator, I hope this episode showed you that it is a business and requires a business strategy. Sheena, where can people find you?
Okay, so people can find me on my main platform is Instagram, and it's at Miss Sheena D. Also, TikTok at Miss Sheena D.
Okay, thank you for listening to Mantra After Hours. Come back for part 2 in 2 weeks with Sheena again as we continue this conversation and we dive deeper into attracting brands, building long-term partnerships, and UGC. I will see you next time after hours. Bye.